to introduce Shad Derby Festival Committee co-chairs, Kristen Hoffman and Neil Shad. Please welcome Kristen and Neil.
Good evening. Thank you, Michelle and Genevieve. Kristen and I are pleased and honored to be your 2015 Shad Derby Festival chairs. It is a privilege to share the stage tonight with these accomplished young women who will be up here soon. The Shad Derby is Windsor's finest tradition, run by all volunteers through 15 different civic and service organizations and supported by local businesses since 1955. This year marks the 50th celebration of the Coronation Ball, Parade, and Festival on the Green, and 61 years since the first Shad Derby fishing tournament. The 2015 Shad Derby would not be possible without the generous donations of all of our sponsors, especially our title and platinum sponsors. Windsor Federal Savings, Mitchell Seelig Ford, Conoco Minolta, our platinum sponsors Acme Trading Company, Ashley's Distinctive Jewelry, Back East Brewery, Dom's Eatery, Birch Meadow Banquet Facility, Carmen Community Funeral Homes, Dr. Robert Ganji, DSI Marketing, Hartford Distributors, International Transfer Service, Jordan Young Dental, PC Development, Snellgrove's Chocolatier, Florist, and Union Street Tavern.
Hi, everybody. Thank you to the business and civic groups who have generously sponsored Queen candidates and purchased ads in both the Coronation Ball and Festival programs. We sincerely appreciate their continued commitment to the Shad Derby. Please be sure to patronize these local donors and enjoy, especially, Back East Shad Derby Pale Ale with us on Derby Day in 2 weeks' time, which is in cans, by the way, now. We would like to thank the Windsor Junior Women's Club for once again sponsoring the Coronation Ball. We especially would like to thank Genevieve Latimer and Michelle Capuano for coordinating tonight's event. We would also like to thank the members of the Queen's Committee, co-chairs Dina Stick-Schulte, Allison Jones, along with Allison Hoagland and Michelle Capuano, who did double duty as well, for their work in preparing the Queen's candidates for all their events, especially tonight's evening.
When John Cardillo organized the first Shad Derby fishing tournament, he hoped to create a lasting tradition in Connecticut's first town. It has been our pleasure to help continue that tradition. What is now known as the Shad Derby Masters Tournament began as an environmental awareness campaign to bring public awareness to the dwindling shad population and the polluted condition of the Connecticut River and its tributaries. In the past 50 years, the Derby has evolved into the multi-event festival that we know today. This year, we have 20 events, each run by a civic or service organization. Windsor Civic Groups Working Together is the tagline on the Derby website. These groups are the backbone of the Shad Derby. It is our volunteers in the Windsor community that continue the beliefs, customs, and integrity of the Shad Derby alive and well. For a list of upcoming events, please visit windsorshaderby.org.
Tonight, as we celebrate the 2015 Coronation Ball, we highlight the best of Windsor. Our caring volunteers, dedicated organizations, hardworking town departments, and civic-minded local businesses. Over 50 years, our town has seen a lot of change, but one constant has been the Derby. For 50 years, we have honored our very best with the deserving distinction of Shad Derby Parade Grand Marshal. We are honored to have this year's Grand Marshal, Chief Kevin Searles, here with us tonight. Chief Searles retired from the Windsor Police Department this year after 40 years of service, 28 of those years as chief. Among his many accomplishments are reducing crime rates, creating a crime suppression unit, organizing a bicycle patrol, revamping the Juvenile Reward Review Board, establishing the Ascend Mentoring Program. The Ascend program empowers at-risk youth to improve their lives by working with community mentors. The program has expanded beyond Windsor to include Bloomfield and Hartford. Chief Searles has proudly been involved with mentoring organizations throughout his career with a focus on helping children and families. Chief Searles is also involved with several other civic organizations, including the Urban Alliance World Vision, the Early Childhood Council. Chief Searles is an active member in his church and participates in missionary work as well. During his retirement, Chief Searles looks forward to spending more time with his wife, Nancy, 6 children, 10 grandchildren. Chief Searles, would you please stand so this hometown crowd can give you the proper acknowledgement that you deserve. On behalf of all the people who have ever worn the ceremonial derby hat and carried the responsibility of organizing and planning this festival, we welcome you to the 2015 Coronation Ball. Remember, this is our town, our festival, and our tradition. This year, again, I think 2 years ago, I had the distinct pleasure of introducing Reverend Charlene, I call you Char, that's how I know you. Sorry, Charlene Curtis Corbett as our invocation speaker. Reverend Charlene Curtis Corbett is the associate pastor at First Church here in Windsor, United Church of Christ. Char also currently serves as the convener of the Windsor Interfaith Clergy Association and is an active leader in a variety of local, regional, and statewide outreach initiatives. A graduate of Windsor High School, class of 1989, Char has fond memories and a true appreciation for the traditions and history of the Shad Derby. Char is married to Jim Corbett, also a Windsor High School alum, 1987, and they live in East Granby, Connecticut, with their teenage daughter, Katie. Thank you, Char, for giving this invocation. We'd like to see you up here right now.
It is such a blessing to be here with all of you this evening, and so at this time, I ask you to please be with me in the spirit of prayer. Creator and sustainer of all that is or will ever be, accept our thanks for the gift of this beautiful day and all the blessings, opportunities, and challenges it has already brought to us. As we gather to celebrate our traditional Shad Derby Coronation Ball, we give you thanks for the Farmington and Connecticut rivers, home of the American shad, which we have embraced as our state fish, and which has inspired Windsor residents to be in community with one another every spring for the last 61 years. We thank you for the many volunteers who have come together to plan and orchestrate the many Shad Derby events, and especially this evening's Coronation Ball. And we ask that your faithful spirit be with our judges and sponsors this evening. With hearts of gratitude for the many youth who enliven our Windsor community, we also ask your special blessing upon the Shad Derby candidates and their escorts tonight. As this evening unfolds, help us to not only recognize how very different each one of these young people are and the amazing talents, dreams, backgrounds, and accomplishments they already possess, but help us to also acknowledge that these young people can never be pressed into a mold that you have already broken. No one is exactly like anyone else because of the unique qualities you have blessed each human with. No matter the outcome of the festivities this evening, no matter who is crowned queen, of the Shad Derby or has a seat in the Queen's Court, each one of these young women are already a gift to their families and to this community, and for that we are ever thankful. Help each one of these young people, candidates and escorts, to see the truth in their own unique beauty and to celebrate who they are and who they are yet to come. Finally, as we prepare to share a meal together, We remember all the people in the world who, due to circumstance, lack of opportunity, or tragedy, are not able to gather in festive community celebration as we have the privilege of doing tonight. And so as we remember them, we offer to you our thanks for the food, the reflections, and the laughter that will fill us, nurture us, and strengthen us to work toward a better tomorrow and a future that is fair, just, and inclusive of one and all. It is in your eternal spirit we pray. Amen.
He is well known to the town as the host of the annual Windsor Feud. Jerry is also the past president of the Windsor Locks Rotary Club. He serves as a celebrity auctioneer for a number of community fundraisers. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Jerry Windsor.
Well, good evening. How you doing? Awesome. How was dinner? I know, it was really good this year, wasn't it? Okay. So, we've got a lot of programming to do. Let me get going with that. First off, I want to take this opportunity to thank Orly Ekman, our judge's chair. Timothy Carmen, our auditor. And to our three judges, Lisa Smith, TJ Clinch, and Agata Switalska. Not bad, right? Thank you for their time and dedication this year. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to introduce each of our 2015 Shad Derby Queen candidates. Eleanor Moore, Miss Hairdresser on Fire, escorted by Kevin Benoit. Amanda Dillon, Miss Union Street Tavern, escorted by Connor Morgan. Alexandria Connor, Miss Krem's Harvest, escorted by Connor Johnson. Annalise Eleveld, Miss PC Development Group, escorted by Mark Markowitz. Michelle Wynn, Miss Jordan and Young Dental, escorted by Jawan Wood. Lauren Canoni, Miss Polari's Martial Arts, escorted by Nia Wynn. Deirdre Volk, Miss Menchie's Frozen Yogurt, escorted by Beth Morrow. Amanda Santos, Miss News Quality Plumbing and Heating LLC, escorted by Lucas Malloy. Michelle Boltman, Miss Windsor Lions Club, escorted by Daniel Kastner. Megan Canoni, Miss Dr. Robert Ganji, escorted by Alexander Gray. Peyton Smith, Miss Dom's Eatery, escorted by Jonathan Fox. Aaron Burke, Miss Ashley Distinctive Jewelry and Gifts, escorted by Paul Tasillo. Victoria Huertas, Miss Windsor Kiwanis Club, escorted by Karan Thomas. Maliko Maz, Miss Windsor JCs, escorted by Tommy McCall. Raquel Sola, Miss Exchange Club of Windsor, escorted by John Nolan. Tony Ambrosino, Miss Millgrove, escorted by Frankie Hernandez. Everybody in place? Ladies and gentlemen, we're proud to present to you the 2015 Shad Derby Queen candidates. So now it's time for my little speech. Don't start booing yet, I've given you a lot of opportunity soon. So this is my 5th year as Master of Ceremonies, and it's my final year as Master of Ceremonies here. And I want to give you a little background to that. Quite frankly, I made a huge mistake 2 years ago. My 2013 speech was too damn good. And I can't live up to it afterwards. So for the past 730 days, I've dreaded the next speech that I have to make. It's really a form of performance anxiety, and so for that reason, I have to retire. Now with that performance anxiety, I decided that maybe there was something I could do, to really write the speeches, and still that performance anxiety came into play. So I went to GNC, and I didn't want to give the whole story, I just explained that I had some performance anxiety. And the woman there, she was very kind. She said, "Do you mind if I ask you a few questions?" And I said, "No, go ahead." And she said, "Well, you're probably not an athlete, so it's not that type of performance." I said, No, it isn't that. And she said, "You're probably not trying to bulk up." And I just looked at her, so that was a no. So she went to the back of the store and she got me a couple of pills, and she told me to take a couple of those half hour before. And so I took those, and the great thing about GNC is, it's buy one and get one half off. So I got 2 containers of those, and I've been taking them for approximately 2 months, and they haven't helped me write the speech at all. But I have been watching a lot more Game of Thrones, so I just want to. So I really didn't know what to talk about this year, seriously. I've talked about great things in the past. I've talked about little festivals all around the country that could compete with the Shad Derby. I've talked about the JCs and their contributions with a beer booth. I've talked about the sponsors. I've talked about everything. I'm talked out. So I wrote to Michelle and I said, "What the heck can I talk about this year?" And she said, "Well, you can either talk about the 50 years that's been going on, or you can talk about the girls." Well, I don't know the girls. I just met them Monday night, right, girls? Yeah. Aren't they sweet? So I decided that I'd talk about where was I 50 years ago. So 50 years ago, I was 8 years old and in 2nd grade. I really can't talk any more about it, even though I've been trying to work it through with my therapist. So what I could talk about, though, was 41 years ago. 41 years ago, I graduated high school. And that's close enough to 50, isn't it, girls? Yeah, it's close enough, Gramps. Yeah. So I had to get back to where was I in 1974? What did it feel like to be back in 1974. And so I went looking around the house to see what I had that could take me back. And Maria's already afraid. That's awesome, because she doesn't know what I'm going to say. She said, please don't say anything so that we have to move out of town this year. So I was looking for what can I have that would take me back to high school. Well, I no longer have my high school class ring. I sold that to Carrie Ruiz and got enough money to go to Dom's and get a burger. So, thank you, Carrie. Really appreciate that. But in the house, there still were. My high school yearbook, right? How many of you still have your high school yearbook? Nice. You know where it is. Good. And I also had my varsity jacket. You want to see it on? That's right, I was huge in high school. Isn't that awesome? And what does it say on the back, girls? Warriors! Yeah! Thank you. This wasn't a Windsor Warrior jacket, this is a Wamogo Warriors. Yeah. Wamogo Warriors. And so with this jacket on, I got back in the mood. And I decided I'd take a look through the yearbook and kind of see, who was I back then? What the heck was I up to? What was I thinking back then? So I opened the first cover. Jerry, what an amazing fun year being in the repulsive advanced biology class. Don't forget that night we got pulled over and I swore all the way home. Well, you didn't. So there are really a lot of good things in here. One of the amazing things was I was in the photography club. Can you imagine? Why do you think I was in the photography club? Anybody know? Girls. Nice. They're going, the girls. Yes, you're right. But why photography club? Did I care about taking pictures? The answer is no. But the photography club was the one room you could go to at Wamogo High School, lock the door, be in the dark, and nobody could open it. I know. Well, I wish you were in photography club, don't you? So you go in there, you lock the door. If anybody banged down the door, you'd go, dark, sorry. Working on that roll of film. I worked on that same roll of film for 4 years. I did. So I looked through the yearbook and I said, okay, how did we look at each other back in 1974? Who were we, as a class? And it came down to 5 different types of people were at my school. I don't know about yours, but at my school, we had greasers, Aggies, stoners, nerds, and jocks. The motorheads? Those would be the greasers. Good question, though. He was paying attention. You like that? So the question is, which one of those do you think I was? So I'll give you a little background and then you can vote as we go, shall we? So, greasers, AKA motorheads, those were the kids that worked on their cars every afternoon. They took the carburetors apart, they put the carburetors back together, they put on a new exhaust system. These were back in the days when you could work on a car, not like today. So, how many of you think that I was a greaser? Wow, okay. I did happen to own a 1969 Mercury Cyclone 429, 2 spoilers, Ram Air with 5 on the floor, okay? Okay. Oh, girls, if you knew me then. But I was not a greaser. I wasn't. And the reason was I was not allowed to use tools. I couldn't work any tools. Instead, I bought the greasers beer. And they worked on my car for me. What about Aggies? Now, many of you may not know what an Aggie is, but I went to Regional Number 6, which is a vocational high school. That means that approximately 40% of the high school were future farmers of America. And there's tables of them over there. I went to school with you kids. So, how many of you think I was an Aggie? No. Wow. Very good. I was not an Aggie. My parents did not own a farm. I'm afraid of farm animals, quite frankly. And you have to get up early, be strong, and work hard in order to be a farmer. I am none of those things. So what about stoners? Let's talk about them for a minute. In case you don't know what they were, those were the kids that missed the 70s. Those were the kids who walked around every day going, wow, man, wow. That was all they said for years. So how many of you think that I was a stoner? No. Not in high school. Thank you. Trust me, I made up for it at UConn. It was the 70s. Never touched the stuff until the first day at UConn. I swear to God, my parents dropped me off. Next thing I know, I forgot the rest of them. So, and just by the way, I want to digress for just a moment. It wasn't just pot back then. I mean, the stoners were doing great stuff. They really were. That guy's laughing over there. He was one of them, but they must have been. So, it wasn't just pot. At the time, my girlfriend, her brother, I swear this is true, he took more trips than a Delta flight crew out of Newark. That was supposed to be really funny. But I thought it was. When I wrote it at 3 o'clock this morning, it was like hilarious. So I really wasn't a stoner. What about a nerd? Okay. So I thought I was a nerd too, a little bit. But I really wasn't, and I got proof. Here's 2 things from my yearbook. I swear to God this is true. The first one was written by Mr. Shambrescus, who was my advanced biology teacher. He said, Jerry, well, you made it through a challenging year in advanced biology. Hope all goes well in the future, Mr. Sham. Now, I didn't know how to read that in plain talk. But let me reread it to you as I read it through these 58-year-old eyes. Jerry, you made it through a challenging year in advanced bio. That means I can't believe you pulled a D-. Hope you do well in the future. That translates to, I doubt you're going to go far in life. And finally, on the back cover, and I was reading this week, this is from Deb. I love it when Deb says something in your yearbook. She says, Good luck with Lisa. Now, Lisa was my girlfriend for 18 months at that time. She goes, good luck with Lisa, although I think she needs the luck. Don't be a stranger this summer. The door is always open. Love and happiness always, Deb. Now, I wasn't even smart enough when Lisa dumped me the next month to look up Deb and have a great summer. Not the smartest tack in the shed. So, some of the groups have combined over the years. I need you to know that the greasers and the nerds must have made nice together because we now have a Toyota Prius. That means someone is now driving down the highway going, I can't believe it. You know, there was a solar flare and I just got 50 more yards on my Prius. The Stoners and the Aggies, they definitely got together because the Aggies were home ec. So the Stoners and Aggies, how else could you create Hot Pockets? I mean, seriously. The Stoners are up at like 2 in the morning going, what are we gonna have, man? And the jocks, they just became lawyers. So, or politicians. Oh! So who was I? Really, none of the above. But I looked at my picture, and you know, for a small surcharge, I will show you this picture. Hang on, I want to show the girls. A handsome guy. Thank you, I really appreciate that. So, here's my quote in the yearbook. Set sail towards the sun. Feel the warmth that's just begun. Share each and every dream. They belong to everyone. That was from the Moody Blues. You guys remember that one? So who was I in high school? I was a dreamer. I was a romantic, a hopeless romantic. And thank God Lisa dumped me because it allowed me to find Maria. My wife Maria, she'll wait. "34 years of married bliss, 37 altogether. But we've had 2 amazing daughters. They're grown and finally out of the house and off the dole. We have 2 wonderful rescue dogs that Maria and I love to death. We have a great home. We have great careers. But mostly, our dream came true by coming and living in this great town. This is an amazing place. We have amazing friends. We have amazing young people in our town. And what we're going to hear about tonight are their dreams about what they want to do in the next 50 years. Give them a round of applause. 'What do you think, hon? Do we have to leave town based on that one? Okay, good. Yes, somebody's clapping. Please, that'll be enough.
That was Carrie Ruiz.
It was Carrie Ruiz. My class ring, and I got 2 cheeseburgers. So, hang on, let me get the girls all together. Each candidate has prepared an essay in response to the following statement. Pretend that you were crowned the 2015 Shad Derby Queen. So, this is 50 years after you became queen, and you were invited back to give a speech at that 100th Coronation Ball. What do you hope to accomplish in those 50 years? And how did your Shad Derby experience help you? Up first, Tony Ambrosino, Miss Snellberg.
I'm 67 years old and not looking a day over 40. I've just returned from Zimbabwe, where I originally founded the American chapter of Pharmacists Without Borders. I'm home to celebrate an entire century of the Shad Derby Festival. Also, I'll be awarding a scholarship in my mother's name to a Windsor High School student. This student, similar to me, was inspired to pursue a career in pharmacy because they face adversity with an illness in their family. Tonight, I'm so excited to share all of my experiences with you. After graduating from Western New England University, I worked for large pharmaceutical companies. I really enjoyed working in research and development. As time progressed, I got into management where I was responsible for setting up and managing oncology labs. After gaining experience in mergers and acquisitions, I decided to branch off on my own. I opened up several pharmacies in less fortunate cities. Then, on my 45th birthday, the grant I applied for was approved and it was the best gift ever. Those funds enabled me to expand outside the United States. I'm sure the confidence and public speaking skills I gained from participating in the Shad Derby helped me earn the grant. The grant was similar to the scholarship I received back in 2015 from the Shad Derby. Years ago, the Shad Derby money allowed me access to a quality education. This time, the grant money allowed people to access medicine through my chain of pharmacies. After 5 years of operation, I finally received my trademark and Pharmacists Without Borders was born. I was officially providing medicine to people in third world countries that didn't have good health care or none at all. My dreams were big, and some thought unattainable. But the thought of my mom and the words of my idol kept me going. The great actress and humanitarian Audrey Hepburn once said, "Nothing is impossible. The word itself says, I'm possible." Thank you.
And next, Raquel Sola, Miss Exchange Club of Windsor.
In my 50 years of being a Shad Derby queen, I reflect back on myself hoping I achieved one goal, using the talents and energy I possess to do everything I could for the advancement of my community. Over my 68-year residency in Windsor, I'm proud to say this is a philosophy that I've stood by. In my 50 years, I've been able to contribute my own energy to improving our already lovely town. I've had the privilege of serving on Windsor's Board of Education, with the desire to preserve the student experience that I had as a student while I was in Windsor Public Schools. Our children are our future, which is why I wholeheartedly dedicated myself to their own development and to becoming proud and distinct products of the melting pot that is Windsor. This diversity in both our school system and town has allowed me to grow into an open-minded adult, with the ambitions to achieve equality for those of all backgrounds and attributes. My Shad experience was the first step in gaining this confidence to express this viewpoint that myself and many others share. Overall, Shad Derby's taught me that while helping others achieve their goal is a true privilege to partake in, rooting for your own self to succeed is just as important. It's for this reason, after dedicating myself to improving Windsor's potentials and its residents, I finally decided to chase my own dream of partaking in a mission to space. This is not only inspired by my own love of science and the unknown, but for the thousands of girls out there with a desire to strive in a male-dominated field.
With my departure nearing, I would like to give one last piece of advice to every young woman here today. Be an active part of your community. A community is like a puzzle, and you are a unique piece that completes a lovely picture. You are a part of the picture, and so is everyone else here tonight. Be kind, be compassionate, and be supportive to the person next to you. After all, as the greatest philosopher of my generation, Miss Taylor Swift once said, no matter what happens, be good to people. Because being good to people is a wonderful legacy to leave behind. Thank you, and have a memorable night.
Is Emily Kopaz, Miss Windsor JC.
Good evening. 50 years ago, I got into my first accident on the way to the Shad jury interview. I'd like to note that that was a first. I could have gone home and given up right there, but I didn't, and here's why. Up to that point, I had sacrificed my placement in the Connecticut All-State Band to participate in the Shad Derby competition. I gave up a festival I had striven to get into since my freshman year. There was no way I was going to let that sacrifice go to waste. After my Shad Derby experience, I learned a few things about myself. One, I had no idea what to do with the pewter bowl I had won. 2, I still didn't know what I was going to do with my life. And 3, I couldn't throw away my love for music so easily. Although I did not major in music in college, I began a community service program called the Young Maestros. It gave kids a chance to try out instruments. Interest in music was on the decline. My theory was that if taking up an instrument was made just as important and widely accepted as playing soccer, maybe, just maybe, interest in music could be revived. I graduated college still absolutely lost in what I would pursue as a career. All I had was a bachelor's degree in some snobby liberal arts major and the Young Maestros organization. Then it hit me. What if I became an advocate for music education for schools all across the nation? Dr. Adam Brennan, the 2015 New England Music Festival band director, once said, "To teach music is to be human." Music is the last thing that resonates within us. In old age, we may not remember our own names, but we'll remember the tune to our favorite song from that summer of high school, or that simple hymn from church. Music unites us. It connects us to ourselves, to our families, and to our friends. I have advocated for early music education, emphasizing its academic merits as well as its social benefits. My goals now are to get the Young Maestros program on the international level, as well as to figure out the use of my pewter bowl. Thank you.
And next, Victoria Huertas, Miss Windsor Kiwanis Club.
As I walked off this stage 50 years ago, I had the same goals as I do now. I wanted to improve the lives of children. Teaching seemed a natural choice, and my kindergarten classroom was filled with curious minds and contagious smiles, but I noticed a broad range of skill levels among the children. Some excitedly flipped through books identifying words, while others struggled to spell their names. Some children were familiar with numbers, while others strived to count up to 10. It was evident to me that far too many children were struggling with basic math and reading concepts, and I wanted to see if an early intervention program could make a difference. I took a leave of absence as I traveled nationally, aiming to find a way to improve the intellectual performance of the students. The solution? The subject of my first book, High-Quality Preschools, the missing link in the education system. People were getting my message about the value of preschool education, but I knew I could do more. I remember the Shad Derby experience and the sense of power I felt as I spoke from behind the podium. Public speaking seemed to come naturally to me, and I decided to use this skill. I went on a book tour, sharing with other communities the importance of beginning a high-quality preschool program and the benefits it would bring to children in their districts. The Shad Derby experience had taught me that change begins at a community level, with any person who is passionate about creating change in their town. Now, to see 50 years later the thriving programs throughout New England, I am confident that these children and children in generations to come will receive an education that will allow them to achieve their goals as well. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Miss Ashley's distinctive jewelry and gifts.
Good evening. Forrest Gump's mother once said, "Life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get." This may come as a cliche, but I find it the quintessential way to describe my life since the Shad Derby competition 50 years ago. I learned at a very young age that anyone and anything can be taken from you at the drop of a dime. In the years to follow, I began living my life to the fullest. In high school, one of my biggest dreams was to visit South Africa. I never knew exactly why, but coming from a suburban town like Windsor, I always wanted to go experience different cultures. With that, my friends and I began traveling all over. Some of my most memorable experiences were visiting the world's largest goat farm in Romania, and furthering my roots in both Ireland and Germany. However, my unforgettable experience happened when I studied abroad in South Africa. While traveling elsewhere in Africa, I learned that not everyone got to live such a privileged life. I met many children who lost family members due to diseases which their countries didn't have the proper equipment and medicines to fight. During this exposure to a different life, I found a true passion for helping those people who lived in third world countries. After returning home, I set my heart on becoming a physician. After obtaining my doctorate and the training I needed, I returned to Africa. I wanted to help make a difference to those who otherwise wouldn't be given opportunities. During my time there, I helped contain epidemics like Ebola. Helping those who previously struggled and giving them a second chance at life once again reinforced my motives of being there. Without my aspirations of traveling, I wouldn't have found my passion. Through traveling, I made a deeper connection with the world. Through the Shad Derby competition, I made a deeper connection with my community. It taught me how to get up and speak in front of hundreds of people and to be comfortable in front of crowds. Without the skills and knowledge I obtained through the Shad Derby competition, my traveling and work wouldn't have been the same. The most valuable lesson I learned in the past 50 years is to appreciate wherever life takes you. I don't know if we each have a destiny or if we're all just floating around accidental, like on a breeze. But I think maybe it's both. Forrest Gump.
And next, Peyton Smith, Miss Dom's Eatery.
The last time I stood on this stage, I was 17, slightly naive, and completely uncertain of what my future held. 50 years of knowledge and 50 years of experience have brought me to this very stage once again. Some define time as what God created to keep everything from happening all at once. The way my life played out, I couldn't disagree. Nursing school was a key time in my life, and it provided me with the level of education I needed to pursue my dreams. However, after nursing school, my life truly began. Through my life, I've always tripped to make the falls shorter. In simpler words, what would life be without imperfections? Why linger on anything detrimental? The patients I've met, cared for, and learned to understand pushed me to live by this ideal. I've seen the utmost dramatic transformations, from insanity to normality. But how can we even define normal in today's world? A PhD in psychiatry and a master's in business management carried me to fulfilling my dreams. Right now, at 67, I run a beautiful facility where we can provide care for a wide variety of mental illnesses, addiction, eating disorders, and more. However, none of this would have been possible without my hometown and every step along the winding road to my soon retirement. I'm proud of where I came from, and Windsor will always be my home. The Shad Derby is about bringing the town, the businesses, and the families of Windsor together, because we're all here to make our community a better place. I'd like to thank the Shad Derby Committee for making this evening possible, the Windsor Rod and Gun Club for creating this tradition, Dom's Eatery especially, and everyone in attendance this evening. Have a fantastic night, enjoy the Derby, and thank you all.
And next, Megan Canoni, Miss Dr. Robert Ganji.
Imagine the first time you saw a shooting star, a small, bright speck moving across the dark, mysterious sky. It filled you with wonder and excitement. It felt like magic, for it gave you the chance to close your eyes, squeeze them tight, and wish for anything in the world you desired. Life is like that chance. My dream has always been to do it all, to experience everything that the world has to offer. As a 68-year-old, I have been able to experience a lot in my lifetime. My will to succeed was developed in a small town named Windsor. Windsor gave me so many opportunities, such as giving me the chance to accomplish my goal of being a part of Windsor's history as a Shad Derby candidate. When my Shad Derby goal came true, it gave me the drive to go after my dreams. Nothing stopped me. I was able to obtain a job as an animal rescue veterinarian. I helped animals who were injured find a place to live when they had no other option. I was able to give every animal the second chance they deserved. During my life, I had many opportunities to explore the world. I got to see the sky being painted as I witnessed the northern lights. I had the chance to take on the difficult task of becoming fluent in both Latin and French, and at the end of the day, I was able to return home to a family that I could call mine. Whether it was seeking out every adventure that lay hidden when traveling the world, to buying my dream house by the beach, the chance to dream will always be present for everyone. All one has to do is begin. For dreams can be as big as the night sky or as small as the shooting star. But whatever the dream is, one always has to remember Walt Disney's famous words, You are never too old to wish upon a star. Thank you.
And next, Michelle Wolfman, Miss Windsor Lions Club.
Good evening. Thank you all for inviting me back to the 100th Coronation Ball. I've accomplished so much in these past 50 years, and I'd love to share my experience with you all. First off, traveling around the world when I was younger was a big dream of mine. I traveled to places such as Egypt and the Dominican Republic with the person I love, and it just seemed like the perfect experience. At each place I went to, I collected a souvenir and took magnificent photos to remember my experiences by, and learned about the history to tell my friends back home. I fulfilled another dream of mine, which was going to school to become an ultrasound technician. My favorite part about this job was meeting my lifelong friends and seeing the touching look on families' faces when I said that they're taking home a baby in a blue blanket or a baby in a pink one. I got married to an amazing man and had 3 lovely children, hoping that had the same characteristics as my husband and I, except for one trait of mine, my shyness. As a child, I was often that quiet girl in class. Don't get me wrong, I could talk your ear off, but when it came to standing in front of a crowd, rereading an essay that I wrote, I went into my taco show. I turned someone very close to me came up with. Now, because of the Shad Derby competition, I feel more confident in my public speaking, and I've shown this skill throughout my life on many occasions, such as presenting awards and going to schools across the country to talk about the ultrasound technician profession. Throughout my life, there have been many things that have shaped me into the woman I am today. I am strong because of the successful long-distance relationship I went through in high school and in college. I am kind because of the way my family raised me. And I'm more confident in myself because of the public speaking I've done for the Shad Derby. Lastly, I am thankful for everyone who has walked in and out of my life these past years, as they taught me many life lessons I will never forget. I'll end with a quote that I live by each and every single day. In the end, we only regret the chances we didn't take, the relationships we were scared to have, and the decisions we waited too long to make. Don't waste a single moment. Thank you all for having me, and enjoy your evening.
And next, Amanda Santos, Miss Noon's Quality Plumbing and Heating.
Good evening. Coming back after 50 years to speak with you all, a lot has changed. I now possess a strong sense of leadership, understanding, and responsibility for those in my life. In the fall after being crowned, I attended Monmouth University. There, I graduated with a bachelor's and master's in anthropology, as well as getting quite good at surfing. Throughout my higher education, I was involved in a variety of activities. I studied abroad, as well as traveled to off-campus digs in the Caribbean Ocean. I also pursued my passion for languages. I have learned Greek, Latin, Egyptian Arabic, and had to read several different forms of ancient symbols, such as hieroglyphs. In leading my team of professionals in exhibitions around the world, I have put my leadership skills to the test. Working for the Smithsonian Museum of Natural History has allowed me to come into contact with a diverse group of professionals. After becoming a citizen of the world, being responsible for myself and those around me has become second nature to me. As I have traveled the second continents, I have come to realize that it is not the differences that make our global society great, but rather our similarities. It is important to remember that we all come down to skin and bones, and it is history that connects us all. Over 50 years, patience is one virtue that I've come to consider most important. When approaching a new project, patience is what sees me to the end of it. The patience that I had to practice during the Shad process has translated into my everyday life at home. As I've gone through my life, I often think back on the way my family and friends supported me through the Shad Derby process. They were always by my side, pushing me to do my best. I today push my family every day to be the best they can be. Thank you to Noon's Quality Plumbing and Heating for allowing me to be part of this experience and Windsor's history. Thank you. Have a good night.
And next, Deirdre Volk, Miss Menchie's Frozen Yogurt.
I wonder if Dairy Queen is open. You've got to be kidding me, it's snowing. I wonder if the judges will like me. I really like food. I hope I don't trip going up the stairs. This is how it feels to have ADHD. With ADHD, you have trouble focusing on one thing at a time. Being involved in the Shad Derby, I was forced to stay focused. I had to plan out multiple speeches and stay up to date on current events. It's these little things that taught me how to become more organized and prepared. It wasn't until my mid-30s that I reflected back on this event and learned to appreciate it. It took hard work, determination, and being true to myself in order to become a successful photographer and to create a global foundation. Striving for a Difference captures photographs of people worldwide and uses the proceeds of its sales to benefit the poor and to help them build a sustainable future. And just like a photographer needs to focus on a subject, I learned how being a part of the Shad Derby helped me to gain focus in my life. Not only did the Shad Derby help me to focus and develop better organization skills, it also helped me to embrace competition. Being a young photographer, I was constantly afraid competition would take away from my business. Just as I was afraid to see my fellow competitors succeed where I simply did not. Instead of getting frustrated with the competition, I learned to accept it. I used my energy to adapt skills, to stand out and separate myself from others. By acknowledging my competitors, I started to believe in myself. And not only did this impact me as a person, but it gave me confidence to make a difference in the world every day. After gaining confidence in myself and learning to focus and becoming more organized, my world became an open lens. I had the ability to do whatever I set my mind to.
And next, Lauren Canoni, Miss Valari's Martial Arts.
Years ago, I was sitting in the same spot as you. I was 18 years old and a senior at Windsor High School. I probably had the same aspirations and dreams as many of you. I was the same way, looking anxiously towards what the future would bring. If you have not done the math yet, yes, I am 68 years old. I have retired from my job as a therapist that has brought me much happiness because I was helping people. I have taught people new skills, and I have helped them become their better selves. I am married with children who have their own children as well. I have traveled the world, and from each trip, I have taken away a new piece of knowledge, a new strategy to live my life. Most importantly, I am happy, something I wish for all of you. As Arthur Rubinstein says, I have found that if you love life, life will love you back. So love your life and enjoy it as I have. I was lucky to be crowned Shad Derby Queen, and I cherished this event, where all the candidates were friendly with each other. From sitting in the Marriott lobby for 4 hours to dancing the night away at the ball, we grew even closer. In the Shad's comfortable environment, I learned how to break out of my shell, and I also learned how to present myself better. Remember, cross with the ankles and not with the knees. The Shad Derby was the push most of us needed in our journey into emerging adulthood. We were given the chance to understand all that we would want in our future, which helped me on my path, and which will help you all on yours. Shad Derby also helped me realize the importance of Windsor, that at your age, I may have overlooked. Windsor is filled with so many different people and so many different experiences, such as participating in an event like this. For all of you now, use this experience. Treasure it, and most importantly, learn from it. Live your life and enjoy it. Be spontaneous as I have. Thank you, good luck, and good night.
And next, Michelle Wynn, Miss Jordan and Young Dental.
Good evening. One of my first memories I had from my Shad Derby experience was having to call local businesses in search of a sponsor. I was absolutely terrified of being rejected, but even more terrified of talking on the phone. I hated it so much that my brother and I would have arguments over who would order pizza. However, I built up enough courage to call around. And even though I was declined a few times, I was lucky enough to find my sponsor, Jordan and Young Dental. After having the opportunity to participate in Shad Derby, I was really able to reach out of my comfort zone and see how rewarding it is to just be myself. Through this competition, I found the motivation to go through the rigorous journey of becoming a pediatric nurse. Through my career, I have built relationships and watched children grow healthier each and every day. Being a part of that process has inspired me to take my love for helping others elsewhere. I have gone to dozens of countries with intentions of giving aid to those who need it most. One of my biggest accomplishments is developing a small hospital in Vietnam that was able to give free healthcare. While traveling the world, I have seen many social injustices. Social justice has always been a huge love of mine. And with the confidence I gained from Shad Derby, I was able to use my voice to fight for those who weren't able to fight for themselves. I find pride in standing up in what is right. One of my favorite quotes is, "If you don't stand up for something, you will fall down for everything." From the day that I signed up for Shad Derby, I found the power in my voice and was able to explore and expand my boundaries of comfort. If it wasn't for forcing me to get over the fear of using that dreaded telephone, then I don't think I would have been able to prosper as much as I have. This local competition influenced 50 years, full of life-changing experiences and differences in the world. Thank you and have an amazing rest of your night.
And next, Annalise Eleveld, Miss PC Development Group.
Good evening, and thank you for inviting me back for the 100th anniversary of the Shad Derby Coronation Ball. What an exciting time for everyone. I'll start by saying to this year's candidates, don't be nervous. A week before my ball, I was talking to a strange man who told me you have nothing to be worried about. You've spoken in front of people before, so just have fun through all of it. I had a memorable and wonderful experience that I still cherish today. Now, onto what I'm here to actually talk about. Becoming your 50th Shad Derby Queen in 2015 gave me the confidence to pursue ventures I may not have tried, and gave me the opportunity to be a voice and a mentor in the Windsor community for many young women. I graduated from the University of Hartford in 2019 with a degree in engineering. I am a mentor for Windsor's robotics team and still promote STEM education in Windsor, including in our elementary schools. Also, a dream of mine since I was very young was to open a dyslexia center in Windsor where children and adults having learning disabilities related to dyslexia could go and not feel like they're alone and left to figure everything out on their own. That is how I felt when I first learned I had dyslexia. My passion for musical theater continued with the Windsor Youth Theater, where I became a director, and we added a summer program allowing young children to learn and explore dance and theater. In closing, it was an honor for me to run with such amazing girls 50 years ago and carry on Windsor's tradition. I hope this year's candidates will cherish and enjoy this moment just like I did. Thank you.
And next, Alexandria Connor, Miss Brown's Harvest.
Good evening. Thank you all for attending tonight, and an even bigger thank you to Brown's Harvest and their unwavering support as my sponsor. You may not always end up where you thought you were going, but you will always end up where you're supposed to be. That statement has been true throughout my lifetime. Right after college, I expected to be off into the real world with a job directly in my field of sports communications, with enough money to start paying off my student loans and to move out of my parents' house. My expectations were high. Thankfully, the connections I made through the Shad Derby, the community of Windsor welcomed me back with open arms. I rejoined my family at the farm and decided to become a camp counselor and teacher with Brown's Harvest New Agriculture Program. I soon got a teaching job at my alma mater, Ethel Walker, with their global education program. From there, I was inspired to create my own global education organization with a direct concentration in sports and community service. This led me to travel, live, play, and teach in over 18 countries and 5 continents. I'm proud to say I've been to every continent besides Antarctica and Australia. Although I've gone all over, I made my way back to Connecticut 5 years ago when our now National League baseball team, the Yard Goats, won the World Series. My Shad Derby experience made me realize how important community involvement truly is. Thanks to my experience as Queen, I recognize the impact a great community has on everyone a part of it. My experiences have sparked a desire in me to strive to create a better community no matter where I go. Windsor has been nothing but a supportive, strong, and welcoming community for me for the past 67 years. Oliver Wendell Holmes once said, "Where we love is home, home that our feet may leave, but not our hearts." Thank you again.
And next, Amanda Dillon, Miss Union Street Tavern.
Nearly every girl who grew up in Windsor knows what it felt like to have been a little girl watching that past year's Shad Derby candidates wave back to you from the float in the parade. It really feels as though you're surrounded by royalty. I know for myself, I had always aspired to become one of them. 50 years ago, I had the privilege of pursuing that dream and becoming the 2015 Shad Derby Queen. I felt a sense of accomplishment that was just indescribable. There was no better way to draw my senior year of high school to an end. This competition helped me learn how to balance and manage my time while still giving my best effort in everything I did. It really gave me a good foundation to begin the next phase in my life at Southern New Hampshire University. I went on to complete my master's and then my doctorate 5 years later. It was very important that I gained experience in the classroom prior to becoming a teacher. One of my most memorable experiences was traveling to El Salvador. I received very generous donations of backpacks, uniforms, and other school supplies for the children whose families were not able to provide them with those things. I felt great satisfaction knowing that these students would be provided with the best education and opportunities to help them succeed in the future. After my trip to El Salvador, I started my own organization, Education Matters, to help raise the money to buy more school supplies for the other children around the world. By competing in the Shad Derby Queen competition, I became much more comfortable speaking in front of people. The confidence I had increased with each speech and each town appearance. I thoroughly enjoyed spending time with the other girls, and I am very fortunate to have gained 15 lifelong friends. I hope that this year's Shad Derby candidates take as much out of this experience as they can and cherish the memories for years to come like I do. Thank you.
And Eleanor Moore, Miss Hairdresser on Fire.
They say home is where the heart is, and even though my heart has been all over the world, my home will always be Windsor. If I hadn't grown up in such a diverse and caring community, I would not be the social activist I am today. I went from being president of Feminist Club at Windsor High and a kid with a camera to becoming chief of segment in digital engagement with the United Nations. As I prepare to retire and publish my autobiography, I've had time to reflect upon the past 50 years since becoming Shad Derby Queen. When I was crowned, I knew what I had to do with my title. I'd always seen young boys and girls looking up to the Shad Derby Queen, and I realized, while running, that being queen is more than just a sash and a crown. It represents a history of caring, intelligent, and strong women who love their town and creating a better community. As queen, I spoke to elementary and middle school students about being themselves and following their passions. Being queen allowed me to be a figure for them to look up to. a figure who had to overcome personal barriers in order to be the best person she could be. As I grew, my efforts in the movement for equality spread across the globe. From giving speeches across America on the consequences of gender roles in education, to using photojournalism to reform domestic violence laws overseas, I used my voice to speak for those who were silenced. Shad Derby taught me that my actions can impact the world, no matter how small they may seem. I am still a Shad Derby queen. That will never change, nor will the passion for creating a better future that Shad Derby helped me build. So ladies, remember this. You can accomplish great things. Someone out there is listening to what you have to say, and happiness starts with realizing who you are. In the words of my sponsor, William Gleason, a man who taught me that being Ellie Moore is the greatest thing I could do, life is about living honestly, being yourself, and being there for others. Thank you for having me return. I always loved being where my passion was born and raised, Windsor.
Ladies and gentlemen, your 2015 Shad Derby Queen candidate. Great job, ladies. They're going to have a little bit of tough work to do, but it's time for the judges to get on out of here and make those decisions. For the rest of us, tonight's musical entertainment is provided by Mr. Jim Aldridge of Romantic Entertainment. Jim does an amazing job each year, so thanks, Jim. I'm going to miss you. We would now like to invite the candidates and their escorts to enjoy the first dance. After that, the rest of us get to come on the dance floor. Come on down, girls.
Let me sing forevermore. You are all I long for, all I worship and adore. In other words, please be true. In other
Ladies, you look good out there.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to ask that our candidates re-enter the room. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome once again your 2015 Shad Derby Queen candidates. And now, please join me in welcoming Caitlin Alley, the 2014 Shad Derby Queen. Caitlin is a freshman at the University of North Carolina School of the Arts. She's majoring in filmmaking. Currently, Caitlin is the host and producer of Caitlin Today, an entertainment show on local stations focusing on the Windsor community and the surrounding area. She's the author of a self-published cookbook called It's Dad's Turn to Cook. She loves giving back to the community. Of all of her accomplishments, Caitlin is most proud to represent the amazing town of Windsor, Connecticut as the 2014 Shad Derby Queen. Please welcome back Caitlin Alley.
Good evening to the Shad Derby board members, judges, participants, escorts, and guests. The Shad Derby has become an event that has been shifted and molded over the years. Although the heart of the event has not changed, it has grown tremendously in body and mind. And it's funny to think of the Shad Derby as a living entity, but it comes alive when the blazing spirits of Windsor residents band together to make this event the most memorable and meaningful experience, not just for the local community, but for everyone, neighbors near and far. On this evening, we are one in Windsor. The idea behind the Shad Derby Queen has been remolded right along with it, absolutely for the better, empowering the young women and proving to the people of this town, state, nation, and even world that image pales vastly in comparison to the way a young woman carries herself. How we express ourselves and promote our ideals, goals, and aspirations. It forces us to explore ourselves as individuals and to never forget how Windsor has helped us get where we are today. I would hope it is easy to include Windsor in some way. For the greatest thing that I have noticed is that Windsor is a catalyst for doers. And I'm going to let that sink in. Windsor is a catalyst for doers. Makers of dreams, a community of leaders, leaders who all possess a unique set of skills. We all bring something different to the table, whether it's a local florist who wraps a bouquet of flowers on Mother's Day, the teacher who stays after school to help you pass your class, the IT employee who works non-stop to get the network back online, the journalist in the Sunday newspaper who wants to provide you with the best news possible, the filmmaker who put 2 years into making a 2-hour story to take you outside of yourself for a moment in time. You see, we are all unique. Windsor thrives because we all bring the best of ourselves to the table. And that is how the town raises each and every one of us. And so I say to you, my ladies of the court, blaze bright like the fiery sun. Burn on into the night when others become a fading light. For it is the achievers who are believers, and believers must dream. You must dream to believe and believe to achieve, and one simply cannot go without the other. Windsor has helped me to cultivate my dreams and thus achieve them. Windsor showed me that there's no such thing as dreaming too big, and I want you to see that too. Here's to the future of Windsor, a town full of brilliant and creative minds, striving only for the best. And here's to the 2015 Shad Derby Queen and all future queens. Thank you.
Any questions about last year's pick? That is one articulate and beautiful young woman. So, the official auditor and accountant for the 2015 Shad Derby is Timothy Carter. Tim, why don't you come on up here and tell everyone about the rules.
Good evening. In my hand, I have the results of the 2015 Shad Derby Queens competition. The Mary Ellen Messina Award, the Vince Scully Memorial Award, Miss Congeniality, First Princess, Second Princess, Princess Royale, and her Queen. As the auditor for the Shad Derby, my job has been to remain independent of the judges and the contestants, and to tabulate the judges' scores after each event, and present the winner to the MC at tonight's event. As in past years, I'm very thankful that I'm not a judge, with such diverse talent, backgrounds, and experiences found in these young ladies. Recognizing that I'm what stands between all of you and the winners being announced, I want to take just a few minutes and share with you how each of these honors is determined. As I mentioned, 5 designations will be awarded: Miss Congeniality, First Princess, Second Princess, Princess Royale, and your Queen. And 2 special awards, the Mary Ellen Messina Award, and a new award this year, the Vince Scully Memorial Award. Miss Congeniality is awarded to the contestant who has received the most number of votes from her peers. Each of the contestants was asked to cast 1 vote for who they believed was the most deserving of the title Miss Congeniality. That young lady will be honored as the favorite among her peers. The Mary Ellen Messina Award is determined by the judges based on an essay written by each of the contestants. Each judge looks at the contestant, the content of the essay, and how well each lady expressed herself based on the essay criteria. The Vince Scully Award, which is new this year, is in honor of Vince Scully's support and involvement in the Shad Derby. It will be awarded to the contestant who demonstrated support and involvement throughout this year's Shad Derby, and as Vince did for many years, demonstrated their commitment to the Shad Derby. The next 4 awards are the top 4 ladies who have received the highest number of votes over 3 separate nights from the judges. I want to take you back to a night in early March. The contestants met the judges for the first time and were asked to deliver a 1-minute speech about themselves and their interests. We heard about their love for people, their love for running, different cultures, and animals. Their involvement in the community through mission, working at St. Francis, being a camp counselor, and being involved in Sunday school. We learned about their future aspirations in photography, biology, pharmacy, education, anthropology, pediatrics, and engineering. And most of all, some shared about their families that support them. These speeches introduced these young ladies as they are and proved to the judges this was going to be a tough year. This round comprised 15% of the contestants' overall score and was based on the presentation of their speech, their poise, and their appearance. In late March, the second round kicked off right here at the Windsor Marriott, and this comprised 60% of the contestants' overall score. Each candidate met with a panel of judges for a 10 to 15-minute question and answer session. Each lady was asked 4 questions. If you had the financial backing in a team, what would you do to make a difference? Who in history do you think exemplifies the Shad Derby Queen? How has technology changed your life? And what tech company would you invest in and why? And finally, what advice would you give to your 10-year-old self? These questions help the judges see what is important to the ladies and understand a little bit how they think. The judges heard about the passions these ladies had for the poor, the sick, and the underprivileged. They heard about idols like Michelle Obama, Neil deGrasse Tyson, Marilyn Monroe, Dr. Martin Luther King, Jackie Kennedy, Maya Angelou, Malala Yousafzai, Audrey Hepburn, Gloria Steinem, Rosa Parks, their pastor, their sister, and their grandmother. These ladies shared about the role of technology in their lives and expressed their views on Google, YouTube, Microsoft, Facebook, Twitter, and Apple, and why they would be good investments. I will say that I looked up these collective companies to see how they've performed this past year, and as of Friday, your recommendations would have yielded a return of 6.43%, which is 2.5 times the yield of the S&P 500. So it looks like stock picking may be in some of your futures. The most intimate responses came when the ladies talked about their advice to their younger selves. Raise your hand more in class. Have confidence. Don't sell yourself short. Try new things. Don't just follow the crowd. Be open-minded. It's okay to play with boys. It's okay to be competitive. Don't be shy. Be a butterfly and spread your wings. You're beautiful. Don't listen to what people say. Be yourself and explore your interests. Accept your past without regrets. Learn a lesson from everything you do. Spend time with your family. You don't know how much time you have with them. Take advantage of more opportunities. Don't cry over everything. Middle school will pass. Be yourself and don't get layers in your hair. Be strong, be independent, be different, and push your boundaries. Wow, what advice. And here my advice would have been, watch out for Spanish, it's not your strong suit. All the ladies opened up their lives and told their story, allowing the judges to get another glimmer into who these women are. Each judge then scored based on community and school involvement, outside interest, knowledge of current events, appearance, poise, personality, and attitude. Finally, the culmination of all the judging occurred this evening. Each of the contestants was asked to write an essay and present it tonight, as you've heard. Each judge has cast their final vote based on the essay, the contestant's poise, and appearance. This comprises the remaining 25% of the overall score. Every year I walk away from this competition having learned more about our future generation. As you've heard in their speeches and as the judges and I have heard throughout the competition, these young women all have stories to tell that we can all learn from. We should all be proud of them and proud of the many people in this room whose support and encouragement have helped mold them into the people they are today. I heard that many of these ladies on stage tonight are close friends and have wanted to run for the Shad Derby since they were very little. To have a program like this going for 50 years and build a tradition that is so ingrained in the community that young girls look to this night in anticipation and excitement for years and hope to one day stand where you're all standing right now. I think it's wonderful that this program and the support of businesses and organizations throughout Windsor help to showcase the talent of Windsor residents and give us all a view into the future of this town, this state, and our great nation. Because of this, we've all been winners over the past 50 years, and I can't wait to see what comes in the next 50. Thank you all.
So next, let's welcome back Chrissy Hoffman, Neil Sokdev, who will now present the Vince Scully Award.
A little taller than I am, I guess. 2015 is the inaugural year of the Vincent Scully Memorial Award. This new award will be presented to the Queen's candidate who obtains the largest number of participants for the Shad Derby Bowling fundraiser, and the candidate that attends the most qualified Shad Derby events in 2015. This award is named for Vincent Scully, longtime Windsor resident, business owner, past Shad Derby Festival chair, and an over 30-year sponsor of Shad Derby Queen's candidates. It rewards one candidate's civic involvement throughout fundraising and through participation.
We are honored to present the Vincent Scully Award to... Can you hear me? I'm very excited about this, by the way. Vincent Scully Award goes to Miss Valari's Martial Arts Lauren Canova.
Next, I would like to welcome Genevieve Latimer and Michelle Capuano from the Windsor Junior Women's Club, who will now present the Mary Ellen Messina Award.
Each year at the Coronation Ball, the Windsor Junior Women's honors a candidate in the Shad Derby Queens competition. We bestow this community involvement award to the candidate who best exemplifies a great regard for involvement in the Windsor community. Over 45 years ago, Mary Ellen Messina spearheaded the charter group of the Windsor Juniors on a path of service, fundraising, and community awareness. Her contributions to the people of Windsor illustrated a deep commitment to community and enhanced the quality of life in our town. Windsor Juniors continue to keep her sense of community alive by bestowing the award in her memory. The winner of the Mary Ellen Messina Award receives an engraved pewter bowl and $600.
The winner is Lauren Canoni, Miss Valari.
The Shad Derby tradition is kept alive through generous donations from many local businesses. These wonderful contributors are listed in the Coronation Ball program. It's because of the generosity of these supporters and each of the contestant sponsors that we are able to award these wonderful gifts and scholarship money to the 2015 Shad Derby Queen and her court. And now, ladies and gentlemen, Miss Congeniality. Miss Congeniality is selected by the contestants themselves She receives a $250 Shad Derby Award. And Miss Congeniality is... Really? You had to seal them that way? Couldn't you just fold them over? The glue's tasty. Yeah, you were in the 70s. 2015 Miss Congeniality, Emily Cope. Miss Windsor, JC. Congratulations. Second princess. The second princess receives a beautifully engraved pewter bowl and a $500 Shad Derby Award. The 2015 Shad Derby second princess is... Annalise Eleveld. Miss Decent Development. Princess. The first princess receives a beautifully engraved pewter bowl and a $750 Shad Derby Award. The 2015 Shad Derby first princess is... Aren't they so cute how they're holding hands? I just gotta say, I know. Michelle Wynn. Princess Royal. The Princess Royal receives a beautifully engraved pewter bowl, of course. What else would she get? And a $1,000 Shad Derby Award. The 2015 Shad Derby Princess Royal is... Victoria Huertas, Miss Windsor Coronation. the 2015 Shad Derby Queen will receive a $1,500 Shad Derby award, beautifully engraved pewter bowl, and a beautiful tiara, donated by Bill Seelig Jewelers, courtesy of Jewelers of America, Inc. Ladies and gentlemen, the 2015 Shad Derby Queen is, let's see, is she here? Ellie Moore. All the girls that were just re-sashed, head on up to the stage. Okay, now's a really good time for pictures. So get those pictures in. On deck, we need the parents. We need Ellie's parents ready to go up there. She's so sweet. She was standing here saying, "I don't even feel my feet." How sweet is it? How about a round of applause for the Queen and her court? Done. Ellie, why don't you invite your mom and dad up? As well as her sister, who's a past queen. I think it runs in the family. What do you think, everybody? Get your family up here. And I think Kayla needs to get up there with her tiara. Let's hear it for him, everyone.
Well, they take some pictures. I think we should open the dance floor. What do you say, Jerry?